Welcome to another episode of the Moving to Australia podcast. I'm Arun Belur, and with me in the studio is Amitabh Dev, Director of Devika Migration Services and a registered Mara agent. Hi, Amitabh. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Arun. Good morning, everyone. It has been a long time, and I'm glad to be back with the podcast. Good to see you again, Arun. Hope everything is well.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I hope you're well, and so is everyone, all of our listeners.
Yes, everyone is perfectly fine. Thank
S-
you.
This is going to be a short podcast because it's something that we are going to discuss in details in the coming months. So today's podcast will be centered around an internal planning tool of four-tier occupation structure that
Mhm.
provides insight into why some occupations continue to receive invitations much faster than others for the skill independent subclass 189 program. The tiers serve as a guide to help understand how the DHA is viewing each occupation in the program and suggest how they will shape a pathway to permanent residency.
Mhm.
To begin with, Amitabh, was this a legislation that was published by the DHA or a memo that was sent out to all the Mara agents about new reforms that they will be introducing to the 189 program?
Arun, no, this was not a legislation, and even it was not a formal announcement sent to Mara agents. However, everyone is talking about it. Everyone meaning those who are tuned to the migration policies, changes, waiting for invitation. It actually came from an internal Department of Home Affairs planning document. Someone leaked it, and then there was an FOI done, FOI, Freedom of Information, and the memo was then made public. So if you do, if someone does Google, they can find lots and lots of information about this tier system. However, we should still treat it as an internal policy planning tool, not as a law. However, recent invitation trends suggests that the Department of Home Affairs may be using this structure to guide 189 invitation rounds. Home Affairs also confirms publicly that occupation ceilings may limit how many EOIs from a particular occupation are invited. Point to note, those ceilings are not made public. And also, we are not sure that it is only 189. There could be subtle impact on 190 and 491 state nominated subclasses as well. Maybe not as much as the trend suggests.
Okay. So can you provide an overview of the four tiers and what factors influence the occupation groupings?
Tier 1 is the highest priority. It includes occupations with long training pathways. Uh, It takes a long time for the professional to get trained, and strong long-term demand, such as medical specialists, general practitioners, nurses, midwives, and physiotherapists. However, you may want to note that nurses, there are a lot of overseas students studying nursing, so that might go into oversupply mode very soon. But we'll probably do it in another podcast about the disconnect between oversupply and actual market demand. So that's the tier one. Tier two, Arun, is high priority. Tier one is highest, tier two is high. It includes government priority occupations, especially in health, education, psychology, and social work. So it's health, education, psychology, and social work. So health includes everything other than the medical specialists, GPs, and nurses. For example, health managers, and health economists, all these allied health services. Now, the next one, tier three, is a broader, diverse occupation. Now, before I reach tier three, let me talk about tier four. Tier 4 is the lowest priority. It includes occupations with very high EOI volumes, people that have been sitting on EOI for a long time. However, the market is in oversupply. Who are these? Accountants, auditors, ICT occupations, telecommunication roles, and chefs. So that is tier four. And tier three is everything else. So, what is everything else? Engineers, architects, scientists, trade, tradesmen, lawyers, technicians, vets, and lecturers. Interesting. Veterinarians are in tier three. Okay.
Can you provide some examples of how the tier system will affect invitation outcomes?
So the practical effect is that two applicants with the same points may have very different outcomes depending on their occupation. For example, a nurse or a teacher in tier 1 and 2 may receive an invitation at a lower point score because their occupation is a higher priority. And also, it could be that the backlog is lower. But at the same time, an IT professional or accountant or a chef in tier 4 may need very, very high points and may still wait longer because their occupation ceiling is more restrictive. So the message is simple. Points matter, but occupation priority now matters a lot too. And we are now only talking about 189. For 190, there are other things to consider. So it's not in the scope of this podcast.
Okay. Are there other measures that the DHA has planned which aim to reduce long waiting periods and improve responsiveness to skill shortages?
Yes, Arun. So the FOI material suggests the department is moving towards a more structured invitation system. This includes more predictable invitation rounds, recalibrated occupation ceilings, better use of skill select data to identify priority skills earlier, and clearer communication with applicants. Home Affairs public skill select pages also continue to publish in invitation round information and occupation ceiling guidance.
So if someone is unsure about which skill program is best suited for their occupation to expect a positive invitation outcome, how can they reach out to their Become Migration Services?
So, if someone is unsure whether the 189 pathway is realistic or is there any other pathway, they should not rely only on points. They should assess their occupation tier, invitation trends, history, state nomination options, employer sponsorship options, and overall PR strategy. So, this strategizing is very, very important. One person can have potentially multiple occupations, which cuts across multiple tiers. So then that information can be used to strategize the right and choose the right occupation. They can contact the Become Migration Services DMS to book a consultation. We can review their occupation points, UI strategy, alternative pathway, and also look at other parameters that impact. For example, it doesn't need to be just points. It can be other factors for state nomination. So we go through all that in the consultation if they book a consultation with us.
So thank you for your time today, Amita. I know you are busy
Mhm.
today, so we made the most of it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. See you soon.